Okay, let's talk about it. That one big question. The one that can feel like this massive weight on your shoulders, but also, a super exciting opportunity. How in the world do you choose a career that's actually right for you?
Oh man, you know the one. What do you want to be when you grow up? We've all been hearing that since we were kids, right? Back when astronaut or pro athlete was a totally acceptable answer. But as you get older, that question gets a little heavier, doesn't it? Suddenly there's all this pressure to have the perfect answer.
And look, that's the first thing I really want you to hear. It is a huge decision. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's totally normal. The goal today isn't to walk away with some flawless 30-year life plan all mapped out. No way. It's just about figuring out how to take that very first step. So let's try to reframe this whole thing. Instead of thinking of it as this one giant, terrifying leap off a cliff, what if we saw it as just a series of small, totally manageable steps forward? Yeah, let's break that down. Okay, this next point is a real game changer. It's about shifting your whole mindset. See, there's a huge difference between actively choosing a vocation, a path that really clicks with you, and just hunting for a job, any job. It's all about going from being passive to being the active driver in your own life. And a big part of taking control is just getting the language right. We toss around words like career, occupation, vocation, but they actually mean pretty different things. So let's get our bearings and clear that up real quick. Okay, so think of it this way. An occupation, that's just a specific job. You're a teacher, you're an engineer. A vocation, that's more like a calling, something that really pulls you. But your career, that's the whole shebang. It's the big picture, the entire journey of your work life, made up of all the different jobs and roles you'll have. It's your story. And that story, your career story, can kick off in a couple of different ways. You might go the general education route, right? High school, university, building that broad base of knowledge. Or maybe you dive straight into specialized training for a specific skill. Think professional institutes, craft schools, that sort of thing. The cool part is, both paths can get you to an awesome, fulfilling career. All right, so we've got our terms straight. Now let's get to the good stuff, the actual how-to. I'm going to walk you through a super practical 5-step plan that takes that big, scary question and breaks it down into real, concrete things you can actually do. So here's the plan in a nutshell. First, you assess yourself. Then you list out some occupations. You narrow that list, set your goals, and finally, you build an action plan. Simple, right? Let's look at each one. Okay, step 1. It all starts with you. Seriously, before you even think about jobs, you got to understand yourself. Ask the big questions. What do you actually value? What are you naturally good at? What are the things you do where you totally lose track of time? And hey, talking to a career counselor can be a huge help with this part, just to get another perspective. Once you have a better handle on who you are, it's time for the fun part, brainstorming. Just let your mind go. Come up with a list of, say, 5 to 10 jobs that sound even a little bit interesting. And this is a no judgment zone, okay? We're just exploring the possibilities. Okay, step 3. Now we focus. Take that big list and whittle it down to your top 2 or 3. And this is where you really become a detective. You've got to do your homework. Dig in deep. What kind of education do you need? What does a day in that job actually look like? What's the pay like? Can you grow in that field? All that good stuff. So after all that research, you've probably got a clearer choice. And just like that, you have a target. This is a huge moment because now you can set some real concrete goals. What do you want to achieve here, both in the next year and, say, 5 years down the road? And that brings us to the final step, number 5, making your action plan. This is your personal roadmap. It's where you take those big, lofty goals and you smash them down into small, bite-sized steps you can take tomorrow, next week, next month. This is how a dream stops being a dream and starts becoming your reality. Okay, so you've got your plan. Awesome. But as you start moving forward, you're going to run into some common myths, these ideas about careers that can totally throw you off track. So let's just bust a few of them right now so you can sidestep those traps. First up, this idea that once you pick a career, you're stuck in it for life. Nope, that is just not true. People change and your career will change with you. It's completely normal, expected even, to change direction. Your career is much more like a winding path than a straight, rigid line. Oh, this is a big one. The idea that making a ton of money is the key to happiness. And look, of course money matters. We need financial security. But here's the thing. Research shows that once your basic needs are met, more money doesn't really make you happier. What does? Things like feeling like you have a purpose and actually enjoying what you do day to day. That's a much better indicator of being happy with your job.
Here's another myth, that a career counselor is just going to tell you what job to pick. They're not mind readers. Think of them more like a guide. They have the tools and the questions to help you find your own answers. At the end of the day, you're the expert on yourself. The final call is always yours.
And last but not least, the myth that you can't make a living from your hobby. Now, hold on. Don't be so quick to write that off. Sure, not every single hobby can turn into a full-time job, but a lot of them can. It just might take a little creativity, a bit of planning, but it is absolutely possible to build a career around something you're passionate about.
So what does all this add up to? It's simple, really. You are in control. You are in the driver's seat of your career, and now you have a framework, a map for that road ahead. Think about it. You've now got this toolkit for the journey. You know how to understand yourself, you've got a clear 5-step plan, and you know which common myths to watch out for. You literally have a path to get from, I'm so confused, to, okay, I've got this.
And as you get started, please remember to be kind to yourself. This isn't a race, there's no deadline. Give yourself permission to explore, to change your mind, to just grow. It's your life, your career, you get to set the pace.
So you're not starting with a blank page anymore. You've got the map, you have the plan. And now there's really only one question left. And it's the most exciting one. What's your first step going to be?